Hi everyone, it's Duchess. I used to hate Sonic, or at least I thought I did. Growing up as a die-hard Nintendo fangirl, Sonic always felt like the enemy. I knew all about the iconic rivalry between Mario and Sonic in the 90s, and even though Sega eventually bowed out of the console wars, the rivalry never faded for me. Even seeing Sonic in Super Smash Bros. Or Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games didn't help. I still felt like even thinking about playing a Sonic game was some kind of betrayal. But then, the release of the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie piqued my curiosity. Here was a video game adaptation that managed to score a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Sure, that might not mean much in the grand scheme of things, but for a video game movie, that's a big deal. So I decided to push my Nintendo loyalty aside and binge all 3 Sonic movies over a few days. And you know what? That lingering feeling of betrayal to Nintendo disappeared pretty quickly because honestly, Nintendo hasn't exactly been loyal to their fans lately either. We'll get to that topic one day. Long story short, I love the movies, especially the third one with Shadow's introduction, but as much fun as they were, something still felt incomplete. Watching Sonic's adventures on screen without even playing one of the games felt wrong. I needed to fix that. And so, my first real dive into the Sonic franchise began, with Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. The journey began with me trying to figure out which versions of the original Sonic the Hedgehog I should play. There were so many options on the table, and honestly, it was a little overwhelming. One choice was the Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, which came out in 2002. It's a compilation of classic Sonic games, featuring everything from the original Sonic the Hedgehog to Sonic and Knuckles, all wrapped up with a charming retro vibe. Another option was Sonic Origins, the more recent remaster that reintroduced the classic games with polished visuals and new features. In the end, I went with the Sonic Mega Collection. Something about playing the GameCube version felt more authentic. Plus, there's just something nostalgic about it. It felt like the perfect way to start my Sonic journey. Starting up the game, I was expecting a fun little experience, something along the lines of the original Super Mario Bros., simplistic in concept and easy to pick up. That was definitely not what this game turned out to be. Right out of the gate, Sonic is dropped into Green Hill Zone, and one press of a button had me speeding up and down hills, launching off mountains, and flying across the screen. It goes way too fast, honestly. Compared to the slower, methodical pace of Super Mario Bros., this felt like an entirely different universe. Everything moved so quickly that I was hooked within seconds. Sure, I was dying every 2 or 3 minutes because I couldn't resist the urge to go as fast as possible, but I couldn't bring myself to stop. My eyes could barely keep up, but I just felt like I had to keep going. I get why this game was such a hit. The vivid colors, the constant stimulation, it was on a level of intensity that gaming just hadn't seen before. That said, it didn't change the fact that the game was ridiculously difficult for me, especially the platforming. Any small misstep or press of the wrong button sent me straight to my doom, all the way back to the beginning of the section. I had no idea that saving in the Mega Collection was limited to checkpoints, which made things frustrating but manageable. But apparently, in the original Sega Genesis version, saving wasn't even an option. Imagine getting sent back all the way to the beginning after every game over? That's brutal. Well, I moved on to greener pastures and gave Sonic Frontiers a try, and I have to say, I was a lot more impressed. The gameplay felt smoother, and having the option to choose a difficulty level was nice, even though I feel like a total loser for admitting that. But even in easy mode, this game isn't exactly a walk in the park. If you don't play smart and strategize during the huge boss battles, you're going to find yourself dying a lot. Trust me, I learned that the hard way during my first couple of major fights against those Titan things. It's pretty obvious that Sonic Frontiers drew a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, but honestly, that's not surprising. At this point, it feels like most major games post-2017 has been a Breath of the Wild clone. That just goes to show how much Nintendo reinvented the wheel with that game. But even so, I like the direction Sega took with Sonic Frontiers. Free roaming the open world is such a relaxing experience. It's a nice change of pace for the series and something I could see myself coming back to again and again. The lore was definitely a little confusing for me, but I think that's mostly because I'm not familiar with Sonic's storylines outside of the 3 movies. From what I gathered, the Chaos Emeralds are super important and have to be collected. Classic save the world stuff. Then there's Knuckles, who, if I'm right, is from some kind of warrior tribe. As for Amy, I have no idea where she's from, but I already ship her with Sonic. They make such a cute couple based on their interactions in Sonic Frontiers. Let me know in the comments if there's ever been a legitimate romance between them, because I'm dying to know more about that kind of stuff. I also have to say, I really enjoyed the voice acting in this game, though it wasn't perfect. There are moments where the delivery feels a little off, especially coming from Amy, but Sonic's voice? Absolute perfection. That deep, gruff, masculine tone is such a refreshing change of pace from the lighter, more tenor-like voices we usually hear with family-friendly heroes. Honestly, it's leagues better than Sonic's voice in the movies or even in Sonic Generations. I'll get to that one later though. The maps in Sonic Frontiers were mostly enjoyable and engaging, no real complaints from me, except for Chaos Island. Chaos Island was... I don't even have the words. It was hands down the most confusing, frustratingly awful stage in the game. Instead of being one solid landmass, it's more like an archipelago, connected by these sliding pipes. Sounds fine in theory, but in practice, those pipes are only in one specific location, so you're stuck navigating around the vast empty voids in between the islands, trying to find the one route that actually gets you to where you need to go. I swear, 10 hours of my playtime were just me trying to figure out the geography of this mess. Hands down though, the best part of the game is going Super Saiyan, turning into Supersonic. During boss battles, you get to transform into this absolute beast that makes you feel completely unstoppable. Until you keep losing because, well, it's actually very stoppable. That was one of my biggest disappointments with the game. You'd think turning into Supersonic will make a world of difference during those epic Titan boss fights, but nope. Instead, it's all tied to a countdown timer based on how many rings you have. Silly me went into one of the battles with barely any rings and had no idea why I kept dying over and over again. I must have been stuck in a loop for what felt like forever before I finally realized I needed to stock up on rings first. After finishing Sonic Frontiers, I'd say I really did enjoy it overall, but that final stretch? Brutal. I won't spoil anything for those who haven't played it yet, but there's this massive collectathon the game forces you into before you can even access the final boss stage. And when I say massive, I mean 3 to 4 hours of non-stop collecting if you didn't already have a head start on it. It felt endless. By the time I finally got through it, I just wanted to cry. But it all eventually worked out, and I jumped straight into Sonic X Shadow Generations. This remaster bundle includes the 2011 Sonic Generations alongside a brand new campaign, Shadow Generations, where you take on the role of Shadow the Hedgehog as he takes center stage. Sonic Generations was, well, okay. I can't say that I enjoyed it all that much. I can't quite put my finger on why, but it just didn't hit the same way Sonic Frontiers did. About halfway through, the level design started to blur together and everything felt repetitive. The stages stopped feeling distinct and I found myself pushing through just to finish it. Honestly, if I wasn't working on this video, I probably wouldn't have bothered completing the game. The controls were kinda wacky too. In the game, you alternate between two versions of Sonic, old school platforming Sonic and modern Sonic. The stages are split into acts, with Act 1 featuring a 2D platforming style and Act 2 embracing a 3D design. Playing as 2D Sonic was fine. The controls were what I expected, especially since I had some experience with the original game. But the real issue started with 3D Sonic. I don't know if it's just me being bad at this or what, but I can't even begin to count how many times I accidentally double jumped to clear a platform, only for Sonic to dash straight to his death. Over and over and over again. It feels so finicky. By the time I reached the final stages, I was this close to rage quitting. The controls are just a little too delicate and overly responsive, making it feel like every minor input could be a disaster. Either that, or like I said, I'm just terrible at Sonic. Funny enough, I didn't run into the same issues with Shadow Generations. In fact, I'd even say it moves at a faster pace than Sonic Generations, but everything feels more polished, which makes sense since it's a newer title. I really enjoyed the new power-ups and features, and the story is engaging enough. That said, it definitely helps to have some knowledge of the previous games because there's a clear sense of continuity here. Apparently, Shadow has already defeated Black Doom by the time Shadow Generations begins, and I'm over here thinking, wait, when did this happen? I'm not even sure which game this event takes place in. It's a bit weird to meet a new character and think, cool, time to get to know you, only for the getting to know you part to have already happened in a game I haven't played. I guess I might need to dive into a Sonic lore video on YouTube at some point just to catch up. The gameplay in Shadow Generations is a lot more fun for me, but if there's one thing that the lazy Gen Z girl in me absolutely hated, it's the way you have to grind for those stupid boss keys. In Sonic Generations, you only had to complete one challenge out of a choice of 2 or 3, and boom, boss key unlocked, boss gate open. But in Shadow Generations, nope, that's not an option. You have to do all the challenges. So yeah, I'm a little ticked off because I got used to the easier system and now they're making me work for it. first world problem, am I right? Well, I guess for the last 20 years, I've been severely wrong about Sonic. This journey has been nothing short of eye-opening, and it feels like I've only just scratched the surface. Diving into the Sonic franchise has been such an incredible experience, and the more I play, the more I realize just how much I've missed out on. This is only the beginning for me. I'm more hyped than ever to dive deeper into this universe. There are so many games, stories, and characters I still need to explore, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes me. Whether it's tackling iconic games, revisiting fan-favorite moments, or uncovering the rich lore, one thing's for sure, my Sonic adventure is just getting started. And that's my take on it. If you're someone who loves exploring the depths of the gaming community, hit that subscribe button below and turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. See you guys later.
Magic's alive. Duchess brings the joy, it's where dreams thrive. With cozy games, she lights up our